Welcome to the Minding My Business podcast. I'm your host, Coach J.D. Auguste, and you are tuned in to the #1 platform to launch or scale your business by developing your business mindset. Remember to subscribe and share this content with a sales leader, business owner, entrepreneur that can benefit from some of the discussions that we are having here on this channel. Today on episode 4, we're going into the do's and don'ts of sales in your business that's going to help you to start cooking in your business. I want you to go ahead and grab something to write with like normals, because what you write is going to be what you keep, and we want to increase the percentages of your results. If you're not getting results, it may be because you're not keeping the information that you are watching. Whether it's on this podcast or anywhere else, just continue to remind yourself, put the effort of writing it down. I am going to give you the do's and don'ts in direct format. So I'm going to give you the do first, and immediately after give you the don't, and we'll go into more detail and more explanation on each one. The first do is establish an effective sales process that can be duplicated. The don't is don't just wing it. Don't just allow your salespeople, your employees, your staff to figure it out and to just wing it and expect to get consistent results or results that's going to help you to grow in your business. So don't just wing it. To have an effective process that you know is effective and that can be duplicatable. So that's two things that your sales process needs to be. That is effective and duplicatable. First of all, effective. How will you know that your sales process is effective? It's that it brings results. So being able to know that the techniques, the conversations that you are having with customers are bringing you the results that you want. Not only just sales. This is where a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs can make a big mistake, is that they get the false sense that their process is effective because it gives them an initial result, a transaction, a sale. However, how can you scale a business if all you're focused on is the first transaction? So an effective sales process is going to be one that is perpetual, that continues to bring customers and allows you to know that that process brings great results over and over and over again. The other way that you can say that a sales process is effective is that it sells the product in the way that you want it to be sold. Does your sales process also support your branding and your marketing message? Now, the second part is duplicatable. So something that when you are scaling your business can be taken not just from one great salesperson or one awesome rock star location, but can be multiplied to multiple locations. A great sales process that can be duplicated takes into consideration that not everyone's style is going to be the same. So it really sets itself up more on principles more than it does personality. That way you can help people with different personalities to still be successful in your business because you are not focused on this specific personality, but more a principle that everyone can adopt and can use in their way, right? I always teach salespeople to sell like yourself, not to sell like someone else, because people buy you in sales. So duplicatable does not mean mimicking or imitating someone else. It just means that the process itself is something that multiple people can make their own. It's a powerful thing. And it's one of the things that we help clients with here. So remember to create a process or have a process that is both effective and duplicatable. The second do in sales for your business is to ensure that your sales process is incorporated in various sales channels. The don't just have one. Just like chips, you don't want to just have one sales channel that you are using or one mode of communication with your customers to be able to bring about sales. When your sales process and techniques are in various sales channels, meaning that what your staff and employees say matches up with what's happening on your social media, and at the same time happening when you are providing customer service or when someone visits your brick and mortar location, if you have a brick and mortar or retail location, when all of those things are aligned and are incorporated with one another, your sales process is going to be absolutely unstoppable. So ensure that your sales process, the message in your sales process, is something that you see in multiple various channels. I'll give you an example. When you're putting together a post or a marketing post to share an event that you are having or a new product that you are launching to your customers, do you have alignment with what you know will be on your landing page when people will check out for that event? Or if they're going to be in communication with a customer service rep or a sales rep, does that marketing that is being put out mimic or at least align and incorporate the sales process that your salesperson is going to take that customer through? When those things have the same mindsets, they move along like an army at the same beat, same pace, one band, one sound, your customer gets a more seamless process. So don't just have one sales channel that you're only focused on, but have multiple sales channels that are all incorporated. The other obvious advantage to making sure that you have various sales channels is that you have multiple ways of reaching customers, which of course, when you're scaling your business, is going to help you to multiply your effect, multiply your influence, and your results. The number 3 do is train and coach your team. Train and coach your team. The don't set it and forget it. When you think set it and forget it, I think, being that I like to cook, of grits. You know what happens if you set and forget grits? You know, at some point it starts to get good, but if you continue to just let it sit, it's gonna get burned, right? Food that you set and forget, absolutely forget, gets burned. So your sales process, don't set it and forget it. You want to continually train and coach your team. The thing is that people consistently need motivation. They also need to be developed. Challenges in the world are ever changing. So someone who doesn't continue to work on their team and set up ways for their team to stay engaged in the practices in the business will get burned. You'll get burned by the economy, or get burned by the fact that your team is now demotivated and maybe undereducated and definitely getting pummeled by the competition. So you want to create a culture and an economy in your business where your team, your employees, and the people that come to you for employment know that there's a culture of continual development and learning. There's a couple of ways that you can solve for that. You can, of course, hire on a training coach or trainer that is going to have the job of being able to do that. Things necessarily don't need to change. Like, how many techniques can you learn? It's not really about learning new techniques all the time. It's really about being able to continue to fine-tune your team's ability to be able to be responsive or to be sharp in any one scenario. I want you to think about it this way. If someone cooks, the more that they cook and are in the kitchen, the better that they get in the kitchen in ways that they do certain things. They're not necessarily always learning a completely new meal, but their skill set is getting sharper and becoming more natural because of the amount of repetition. I want you to remember this quote: repetition is the mother of all learning. So the more and more that you can continue to create a culture that embraces development and learning and coaching, the better of a team that you're going to have. Think also about the additional bonus of having a culture like that. When you have a team of individuals who are open and even desire learning and coaching, then that means that that individual is going to stay hungry and at the same time stay humble to be able to take new information, as opposed to having a group of people who don't want to learn, don't want to take in new knowledge, don't want to change their ways, and will service their customers and service your customers however they have always serviced your customers. If the environment changes, they don't know how to shift. When COVID hit the world, many businesses were crushed because they didn't have the ability to adapt. They didn't have the ability to flex and to move how they were going to service their customers. But those businesses that had a culture of coaching and training were able to put out new information and to have their team and their staff know how to move with the big change that's happening in the world. I'm not saying that COVID's going to come back around, but what's the next epidemic? Is it AI? Is it the use of AI and technology in business? What is it that's going to shift, and is your team going to be ready to be able to capitalize on that shift? If you are in need of a coach, a sales coach for your team, I want you to contact me at mindingmybusinesspodcast@gmail.com, and I can share with you some more information about how you can get those services to your team. And number 4, the final do to start cooking in your business is get a sales process that is customer focused. The don't be a jerk. As a small business and as an entrepreneur, you really cannot afford to have ineffective sales processes that does not keep your customer as the focus. And really, there are some big businesses that really can't afford that as well. They just don't know it yet. Some have already seen what happens when you completely eliminate your customer as being the central focus point of your business. Remember, your customer is what feeds your business. Your customer is what helps you to scale and to continue to bring services to them. So when you have a sales process that is only focused on your revenue without taking into consideration the customer experience, in the long run, it will cost you immensely. So don't be a jerk. Don't just think about yourself. Don't just think about the money, but keep in mind a process that's going to keep your customer as the central focal point. Now, when you have a process that keeps the customer as the focus point, it's going to do so many things for your business that I can't even stop talking about it. Number 1, a customer-focused sales process creates return customers. I know for me as a customer, if I spend money with a business and I am not satisfied with that customer service experience, I may not be the one that speaks up at that business or asks for a refund. It's just my personality. But I am definitely the one that makes a commitment to never come back and to never do business with that business again. Now, when you think about businesses that don't care about that, they don't care if you come back or not, is that the type of business that you want to work with? And as a business owner, if you have a business where you do not care if the customer comes back or not, you are counting on always having to do what? Acquire new business. The cost of acquiring new business is much higher than the cost of gaining returning customers. Now, there are certain products where there's not necessarily a return market, but let's consider number 2. Another benefit of having a customer-focused sales process is that it is going to create referrals. So even if you have a product that really can only be sold once or once every so often, like roofs, for example, someone doesn't put a roof on their home every single year. However, as a customer of a roofing company, I may refer my friends, my family, to that roofing company when they need the service, even if I won't need that service for another 10 to 15 years. And being a customer-focused company with a sales process that keeps that in mind is going to create the potential of that happening rather than being a jerk about it, getting the transaction, and having a sales process that doesn't service your customers. You're probably not going to get that referral. Yeah, probably not. Customer-focused sales processes also create customer loyalty, which means that you will have what's called brand ambassadors. I love this one right here. A brand ambassador is literally someone who works for you, but you don't pay them. What? What do you mean? Think about it. Anytime that you have went and you have promoted with passion a movie, a restaurant, because you enjoyed the experience, the customer service that you got with that business, you were working for that business, but they didn't have to pay you, did they? So exactly the same thing. When you create loyalty by your attention to detail and focusing on your customers and making sure that they've got the best experience out there, you create these brand ambassadors who have no problem and no hesitation sharing your business with others and telling people how great your business is. I want you to get into the habit of living for those reviews. As a trainer and coach for over 20 years, this is one of the things that I absolutely enjoyed the most about being a coach and a trainer, is receiving those reviews when someone says, hey, this really helped me. You really inspired me. Or whatever the feedback may have been, it's not to boost my ego, but it was for me payment that the efforts and the passion that I was putting into helping someone with the knowledge that I have and the resources that I'm giving them access to absolutely benefited them, not only motivationally and mentally, but literally on their bottom line and raising their revenue. It's payment enough. So strive to get those reviews. You should do this. You should make it so easy for your customers to leave you a review so that you can hold yourself accountable to how well you're doing. Create a QR code if you are in a retail location and place it at the front or in the window so that it's so easy for your customers to leave you a review. And if you are scared to do that, then that is an indication that something is wrong, because you should desire to get the feedback of your customers, the reviews of your customers, either to improve or to validate that you are providing top-notch level of service. If you're online, solicit feedback as well, maybe at the bottom of your email blast or after you have serviced a customer. Of course, we see this all the time where people say write a review. But make it easy. Give them some prompts, something to put in, and then of course a space where they can write in that information and actually look at the review. Don't just collect it, but look at that review and see what are some reoccurring words that you're receiving from your customers. And this can help you to identify where you are doing great and where you could be improving as well. And lastly, a customer-focused sales process is also going to create upsells. When someone is satisfied with the first thing that you provide them and the level in which you provided it, it makes it so much easier to buy something else. I remember when I went to New Jersey and I went into a suit store, and the level of service that this suit store provided was so unique to me. It was so foreign to what I have experienced before. And instead of just buying one or two suits, I bought like six suits, some shoes. I just continued to be upsold because the product was a great quality product, but even what was better than the product was the level of service. The sales professionals were all tailors, so they fit the suit for you and walked around and made suggestions. They were engaged with the sales process with a very positive mindset and very positive energy to be able to help me to find the right suit. The business was set up being customer focused, which helped create that upsell as well. They literally tailored the pants and, if I needed, the jacket in the store while I was still shopping. So instead of having to leave it there and come back in a couple of days, which I didn't have the opportunity to do because I was out of town, they have a setup in the back where someone was actually tailoring the suits for their customers. Now, this is something they had to build up to. Maybe you don't have the finances to create some of the solutions that you know will be more convenient for your customers. But for right now, write it down, map it out, and as you get there, make it a priority to provide that service to your customers, because customer-focused sales processes create upsells. Being a jerk in your sales process creates no sale or a one sale, one trick pony, and of course, a very bad experience that people will share with others. In the long run, those type of businesses, those type of sales professionals don't last long, or they end up with a reputation that is so bad that it's almost impossible to recover from it. These are the do's and don'ts of sales in your business. Choose the right way to service your customer, and it will always pay you. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Minding My Business podcast. Remember to subscribe, share this with another professional, business owner, entrepreneur, or sales leader that you know that can benefit from this. We'll see you again. Continue to mind my business. I'm your host, J.D. Auguste.